Imagine owning a company that could sell millions of products every year, yet choosing not to. Imagine customers waiting years just for the chance to buy what you make. Imagine demand becoming so powerful that saying no actually makes your brand more valuable. That sounds impossible. Most companies dream of selling more. Ferrari chose something completely different. It chose exclusivity. Today, a Ferrari isn't simply a car. It's a symbol of ambition, performance, craftsmanship, and success. People don't just admire Ferrari. They dream about it. But Ferrari wasn't born as a luxury empire. It began with one man's obsession. Not with money, not with fame, but with racing. Welcome to Empires. Today, we uncover how Ferrari became one of the world's most admired brands. The story begins in Modena, a city that would one day become the heart of Italian performance cars. There, a young boy named Enzo Ferrari developed a fascination with speed. As a child, he watched automobile races with his father. The sound of engines, the smell of fuel, the excitement of competition. Those experiences left a lasting impression. Enzo didn't dream of becoming wealthy. He dreamed of building the fastest cars in the world. That dream would guide every major decision he made. But dreams alone don't build empires. Reality had other plans. Europe was changing. Economic uncertainty and later war disrupted countless lives and careers. Like many people of his generation, Enzo faced setbacks long before he found success. Sometimes, the greatest businesses are born, not from comfort, but from persistence. Before creating Ferrari, Enzo worked with Alfa Romeo. At first, he wasn't designing legendary sports cars. He was learning, watching experienced engineers, understanding racing, building relationships. Those years became his classroom. He learned how racing teams operated, how cars were developed, how small improvements could decide the outcome of a race. Most importantly, he discovered that speed alone wasn't enough. Winning required discipline, preparation, and relentless attention to detail. Every future empire begins with a period of learning. Before leading, great founders often spend years mastering their craft. In 1947, Enzo Ferrari introduced the first car to carry the Ferrari name, the Ferrari 125S. It wasn't an instant commercial success. In fact, the first race ended with a mechanical problem. For many entrepreneurs, that might have felt like failure. Enzo saw something different. He famously described it as a promising failure. The car had potential. It simply needed refinement. That mindset became part of Ferrari's identity. Failure wasn't the finish line. It was feedback. Every race provided data. Every setback revealed opportunities to improve. Great companies rarely become extraordinary because they avoid mistakes. They become extraordinary because they learn from them faster than everyone else. Here is something many people don't realize. Ferrari didn't begin by trying to build luxury cars. Its heart was always racing. The company competed in some of the world's toughest motorsport events. Victories on the track strengthened Ferrari's reputation. Every win reinforced the idea that Ferrari represented performance, not just transportation. Eventually, customers wanted to own a piece of that racing heritage. Buying a Ferrari wasn't simply buying a car. It was buying into a story, a legacy, a dream. People rarely purchased luxury products only because of quality. They purchased meaning. And Ferrari understood that better than almost anyone. Most companies ask one question: how can we sell more? Ferrari asked something completely different. How can we remain special? Instead of producing as many cars as possible, Ferrari intentionally limited production. Demand stayed higher than supply. Waiting lists grew. Exclusivity increased. The brand became even more desirable. Scarcity wasn't an accident. It became one of Ferrari's greatest business strategies. Customers weren't simply purchasing transportation. They were joining an exclusive club. Sometimes, building a legendary brand isn't about making more. It's about knowing when to make less. Ferrari had established itself as a symbol of speed and prestige. Its racing success inspired the world. Its road cars became objects of desire. But the company's greatest challenge was still ahead. A rivalry with another Italian legend, a financial crisis, and one decision that would forever change the future of Ferrari. In the next chapter, we'll uncover the famous conflict between Enzo Ferrari and Ferruccio Lamborghini, how it led to the birth of Automobili Lamborghini, and why that rivalry became one of the greatest stories in automotive history. By the early 1960s, Ferrari had become one of the most respected names in motorsport. Its cars were fast. Its victories were legendary. And Enzo Ferrari had earned a reputation for building machines that pushed the limits of performance. But one customer wasn't completely satisfied. His name was Ferruccio Lamborghini. Before building sports cars, Ferruccio had already become a successful businessman by manufacturing tractors. His company was thriving. And with his success, came a passion for high-performance automobiles. Ferruccio owned several luxury sports cars, including Ferraris. He admired their speed, but he believed they had flaws. Some accounts describe him becoming frustrated with issues such as the clutch and overall refinement. Eventually, he decided to share his feedback directly with Enzo Ferrari. The conversation has become one of the most famous stories in automotive history. Different versions exist, but the central idea remains the same. Ferruccio felt his concerns weren't taken seriously. Whether every detail happened exactly as the legend tells it. The outcome is undeniable. Instead of accepting disappointment, he decided to build his own sports car. That decision gave birth to Automobili Lamborghini. One conversation helped create one of Ferrari's greatest rivals. For many companies, motorsport is advertising. For Ferrari, motorsport was identity. Every race, every victory, every championship, strengthened the brand. When Ferrari competed in Formula One World Championship, it wasn't simply trying to win trophies. It was proving that its engineering could perform under the toughest conditions. Customers noticed. Fans noticed. The entire world noticed. Winning on Sunday often inspired confidence in the cars people dreamed of driving on Monday. Ferrari didn't build race cars to sell road cars. It built road cars to continue racing. That philosophy made Ferrari different from many competitors. Despite its legendary reputation, Ferrari wasn't always financially secure. Building race cars, developing new technology, and maintaining world-class engineering required enormous investment. By the late 1960s, the company faced growing financial pressure. Demand remained strong. But success in racing came at a significant cost. Enzo Ferrari faced a difficult choice. Continue alone, or seek outside support. For a man who had spent his life protecting his independence, this wasn't an easy decision. After discussions with several companies, Ferrari reached an agreement with Fiat in 1969. The partnership provided financial stability while allowing Ferrari to continue focusing on engineering and motorsport. Sometimes, great leadership isn't about refusing help. It's about knowing when the right partnership can secure the future. Imagine you are running one of the world's most desirable brands. Demand is growing every year. Customers are willing to pay premium prices. What's the obvious decision? Produce more cars. Increase revenue. Expand rapidly. Most companies would. Ferrari didn't. For decades, Ferrari has carefully managed production. The company has generally preferred maintaining exclusivity rather than maximizing volume. Because Enzo Ferrari understood something powerful. Luxury isn't created by abundance. It's created by scarcity. When something is difficult to obtain, people often value it even more. Long waiting lists. Limited production. Exclusive models. These weren't accidents. They became part of Ferrari's strategy. Owning a Ferrari wasn't meant to be ordinary. It was meant to feel extraordinary. Over time, Ferrari became much more than an automobile manufacturer. It became a global symbol. People who had never driven a Ferrari still recognized the prancing horse logo. Fans collected Ferrari merchandise, visited Ferrari museums, watched Formula One races, dreamed of owning one someday. The company had built something incredibly valuable. Not just products. Emotion. Identity. Aspiration. The strongest brands don't simply sell objects. They sell stories. Ferrari represented passion, performance, Italian craftsmanship, and decades of racing history. That emotional connection made the brand far more valuable than its production numbers alone. As the automotive industry evolved, so did Ferrari. The company embraced new technologies while working to preserve the character that made its cars iconic. It invested in hybrid technology, improved aerodynamics, advanced materials, and continued refining its engineering. Markets change, technology changes, customer expectations change. But Ferrari understood something essential. Innovation should strengthen a brand's identity, not erase it. The challenge wasn't simply building faster cars. It was building the future, without losing the soul of Ferrari. Ferrari had survived financial uncertainty. It had built one of the strongest luxury brands in the world. It had turned scarcity into a competitive advantage. And it had inspired generations of enthusiasts. But the most important question still remains. Why is Ferrari worth so much, while producing far fewer cars than many of its competitors? In the final chapter, we'll uncover Ferrari's modern business strategy, its record profitability, the psychology behind luxury, and the timeless business lessons every entrepreneur can learn from the prancing horse. Imagine owning one of the most desirable brands in the world. Demand keeps growing. Waiting lists become longer. Customers are ready to pay almost any price. Most companies would ask one question. How can we produce more? Ferrari asks something completely different. How can we protect what makes Ferrari? Ferrari. That's why Ferrari has historically kept production relatively limited compared with mass-market manufacturers. Not because it couldn't build more cars, but because exclusivity is part of the brand's identity. Luxury isn't just about quality. It's about rarity. If everyone could easily buy a Ferrari, it wouldn't feel as special. Sometimes, the strongest marketing strategy is knowing when to say no. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine the Ferrari logo. The prancing horse. You probably recognize it instantly. Even if you have never owned one. Even if you have never driven one. That's the power of branding. Ferrari didn't become iconic simply because it built fast cars. It built emotion, passion, history. A connection between racing and road cars. For decades, every Formula One victory strengthened the brand. Every championship reinforced the idea that Ferrari represented excellence. When people buy a Ferrari, they aren't only buying horsepower. They are buying a story, a legacy, a dream that began with Enzo Ferrari. Great brands don't compete only on products. They compete on meaning. Here is something surprising. Ferrari produces only a fraction of the vehicles made by companies like Toyota or Ford Motor Company. Yet Ferrari has often achieved exceptionally strong profitability for each vehicle it sells. Why? Because Ferrari doesn't compete on volume. It competes on value. Every detail matters. The engineering, the craftsmanship, the design, the racing heritage, the ownership experience. Ferrari proves an important business principle. You don't always need more customers. Sometimes, creating extraordinary value for a smaller group of customers can build an extraordinary business. The automotive industry is changing rapidly. Electric vehicles, artificial intelligence, advanced software, sustainability. Every major manufacturer is adapting. Ferrari faces the same challenge. How do you embrace the future without losing the emotion that made people fall in love with your brand? The company continues investing in new technologies, including hybrid systems and future electric models, while aiming to preserve the driving experience and design philosophy that define Ferrari. Innovation isn't about abandoning your identity. It's about carrying your identity into the future. That's one of the hardest challenges any business will ever face. Ferrari's journey offers lessons that extend far beyond the automotive world. Lesson 1: build a brand, not just a product. Products can be copied. Brands are much harder to replicate. Ferrari sells emotion, heritage, exclusivity. That's what creates lasting value. Lesson 2: scarcity can be a strength. Most businesses chase endless growth. Ferrari reminds us that protecting your brand can be just as important as increasing production. Sometimes, less truly becomes more. Lesson 3: Never forget your purpose. Ferrari's roots were in racing. That passion shaped every road car the company built. Its purpose never disappeared. Companies that stay connected to their original mission often build stronger cultures and more loyal customers. Lesson 4: Adapt without losing your soul. Technology changes. Markets change. Customer expectations evolve. But adaptation doesn't require abandoning your identity. The strongest companies evolve, while remaining true to what makes them unique. Lesson 5: Legacy is built over time. Ferrari didn't become legendary in 1 year, or even 1 decade. Its reputation was earned through generations of engineering, competition, and consistency. Real success is rarely instant. When people think of Ferrari, they often think of speed, luxury, performance, beautiful design. But Ferrari's story is about something much deeper. It's the story of a man who loved racing more than profits. A company that refused to become ordinary. A brand that understood that value isn't always created by making more. Sometimes, it's created by making something unforgettable. Ferrari never tried to become the biggest car manufacturer. It focused on becoming one of the most admired. And in doing so, it created one of the strongest luxury brands in history. Every entrepreneur dreams of building something remarkable. But Ferrari teaches us that remarkable businesses aren't built by following everyone else. They are built by having the courage to be different, to protect your standards, to focus on quality, to think long term. In a world where so many companies chase volume, Ferrari chose exclusivity. In a world obsessed with rapid expansion, Ferrari chose patience. And in a world full of ordinary products, Ferrari created an extraordinary experience. That's why, more than 70 years after the first Ferrari left the factory, the dream is still alive. Not because Ferrari built the most cars, but because it built one of the most powerful stories in business history. Thank you for watching Empires. If you enjoyed this documentary, subscribe for more stories about the world's greatest companies, their founders, their strategies, and the lessons hidden behind every successful empire. Until next time, stay curious, keep learning, and remember, great companies don't just sell products, they create legends.